That's not good at all. Don't have the talent for this.
Okay, friends, it happened. I did my first Zwift race. I know, it's been a long time coming. It's something I've wanted to do since I got my Zwift ride. One of the things that's kind of like delayed me getting into racing is just being quite overwhelmed by it. I've scrolled events on the companion app, I've looked on Zwift Insider, and there's just simply so many different races and types, categories, power meters, how to register, who to register with. Like, it just bamboozled my brain. But I've always wanted to give racing a go. It looks like so much fun. And finally, I bit the bullet, stopped overthinking everything, and got stuck in. Now, last week, Zwift kicked off its Unlocked campaign. It kind of replaces the Tour of Watopia, which was last year, where you did a stage every week, you unlock some bits, bish, bash, bosh. But this Unlock series is actually pretty interesting because although it has different routes each week, one of those routes is a longer one, which is more like a free ride. You can do it as, however you want, whenever you want. And then there's also a race option. And I took this as being the perfect opportunity to do my first Zwift race. Now, because I haven't actually ever done a race before, I've done a couple of FTP tests.
No, we're gone.
And I've done some of the tours and the big spins and events like that, and along with some workouts. No surprise, my racing score was virtually non-existent. So I was recommended to go into the absolute bottom category, the 0 to whatever racing score category, which I did. Not gonna lie, on that starting line, as people started coming into the race, I was getting a little bit nervous. I was telling myself that this isn't like a real race, but it is a real race. Just have fun, but also do your absolute best. Now, in theory, I thought I knew how to approach a race. Turns out I don't. I thought that before you go into a race, you want to spin your legs out, warm them up, maybe like do a couple of like rev ups, which I did. Maybe I did those too hard, it kind of hurt. And then the countdown began and we were off.
Here we go, my first race. And I'm up front, but not for very long. And that was short-lived.
And I pushed hard. Like, I thought every race you've got to just explode off the line and go as hard as you can so you can kind of get into the front group and just hold on for dear life.
My heart rate's already in the 160 to 70. That's not good. That's not good at all. Oh.
Within that first few hundred meters, I already knew I made a mistake. I went so hard off that start line, there was no way I could kind of hold on and sustain a pace. But I was in the mix of the front group and I was thinking, right, everyone's just exploded. Let's hope we all drop down to a nice, comfortable cadence that we can all appreciate and we can pull each other along.
I do drop into the back of this group. I don't have the talent for this.
And then as we were getting to that like kilometer, 2 kilometer, I started to drop back in that group quite quickly. I just did not have the talent in me to hold on to that lead pack.
Oh, this is not good. Still got 10k to go and practically at the start. Fuck.
And then after I dropped that first group, I thought, no problem, I'll cruise on my own for a little bit and maybe the second group can catch up to me and I can just tag on with them.
Here's the chase group. Go, guys. Nice.
And then a few people kind of start to overtake me and I'm like, that's fine, we're fine, I'm fine. Now during this week, XP is doubled, which is lovely, and boosts last a little bit longer. What I didn't know is that the boosts were restricted to like a feather and an anvil. Now I know the feathers are useful for when you're climbing. It kind of gives you a weight advantage where you can kind of, I think, sail up a climb a little bit easier because it makes you a bit more lightweight. I didn't know what an anvil was, but I guessed it made you heavier for descending so you could go faster. I mean, that's kind of the opposite of the feather. Don't hate me in the comments for using them at the wrong time. I've already mentioned I had no idea what I was doing. I was winging it. And then we kind of get roughly to that halfway mark, and I think this is okay. I'm kind of mid-pack, slightly closer to the back than I am to the front. Just hold on, Jess. Now, I don't want to make excuses, but I'm going to anyway because it's my video. But 3 weeks ago, I ran the Berlin Marathon. If you haven't watched that video, please do. I put so much effort into it. And then last weekend, I ran the Cardiff Half Marathon, where I got a PB. Go me. Prior to starting this race, I'd actually been to the gym at 6 a.m. in the morning and again yesterday. My legs were not as fresh as they could be. I also had no idea what I was doing. They're my excuses.
Oh, I cannot believe that nearly a quarter of this whole route is a huge climb right at the end. Oh, what a shitter. Ooh.
And then as we get to that climb, that final stretch up to the finish line, I realized this is pretty much like a whole quarter of this whole bloody course. How evil can Zwift be to do that to you? So evil. Nonetheless, pushed on.
Yay! Tiny marginal gains. I'll take it.
I had a little feather to begin with, so I just cranked that out straight away because I saw a dark red colour and I freaked out. And then I just thought, grind it out. We're nearly there, Jess. Home stretch. Grind and grind and grind. Now, I know that on climbs like this, people often get into hard gears, get out the saddle and just power down through those cranks, get those big red numbers up on the screen. I would love to say that I can do that, and I can for like 3 seconds, and then my legs blow up. I'm just not quite there in my fitness journey where I can say I have explosive power and I have big, powerful tree trunk legs. I just don't. It's like I don't have the ability to sustain high power and high watts for very long. And it's something I will work on, and I'm cool with that. I'm a total novice to this, and I'm sure people will happily tell me what to do in the comments, but at this point, I am just winging this whole thing. And then the distance drops down, and I'm thinking at this point, right, only a few hundred meters to go. Just keep grinding it out. Just empty yourself in.
Nearly there. Nearly there.
And it's when like I start swaying quite side to side and I'm doing the horse breathing or like the labor breathing, and I just want to get over that line. And there we are. I did it. I did my first Zwift race. Sure, there are lots of things that I need to work on. I really do need to learn a little bit more about race strategy, and I need to learn a bit more about techniques, climbing, or when to use my boosts effectively. There's lots of theories that I do need to learn, but I also really need to work on my strength, my fitness, and explosion. I need to be more explosive, and right now I'm like a sparkler. But I'm happy to say I did really enjoy it, and this Zwift Unlocked campaign is going on for another couple of weeks. So next week there'll be a different race, and you know, following on for that until the campaign ends. And I fully intend, I know I say this all the time, I fully intend to do all of them. And there we are. That's my first Zwift race. I'm super happy I did it. I'm really happy my score went up as well. I think I'm just over 100 now with my racing score. Go me. I am going to work on that and try and increase it. And yeah, thanks for joining me on this milestone in my life, and I'll catch you in the next one.